Seattle is drowning in a crisis it can no longer hide: homelessness. As new residents flood into the city and housing prices shoot through the roof, harsh weather and economic unfairness are leaving more people stranded without shelter. This isn't just numbers on a chart anymore. It's a heartbreaking truth impacting thousands, including families, veterans, and even children. Today, we're peeling back the layers on why Seattle's homelessness has spiraled out of control, the consequences of ignoring it, and how it hurts everyone in the community. Before diving deeper, please like, comment, and subscribe to Global Homeless News. Your support shines a spotlight on critical global issues through inspiring travel documentaries and powerful storytelling. Now, let's journey deeper into Seattle, a city that's both beautiful and deeply troubled. When you first see Seattle, you're instantly captivated by its natural charm. The glistening waters of Puget Sound and lush, evergreen forests feel like paradise. But if you venture further, especially into downtown or certain neighborhoods, a darker picture emerges. Amid shiny skyscrapers and busy cafes, you'll see clusters of tents and people desperately seeking shelter under highway bridges. This shocking scene reveals a brutal truth. Even in a place bursting with innovation and wealth, too many people have been forgotten. This jarring contrast of luxury offices beside makeshift shelters begs a serious question. How did Seattle, a city praised worldwide for its booming economy, end up with one of America's worst homelessness crises? That's exactly what we're here to uncover. To truly grasp Seattle's story, we need to explore how prosperity and poverty coexist in the same streets. As you watch this documentary, remember this: every city has secrets lurking beneath the surface. Hidden stories of pain and struggle. Seattle's story is uniquely dramatic, a city that simultaneously attracts top tech companies and creative talent, yet battles daily with heartbreaking homelessness. This clash sets the stage for our exploration into the historical background and current reality of Seattle's homelessness problem. But what we discover next reveals even deeper issues. Seattle's battle with homelessness didn't start recently. Its roots run deep into history. Way back in the mid-1800s, when Seattle was still a rugged frontier town, places now celebrated as cultural hubs were known locally as skid roads. These rough areas became gathering points for outcasts, planting seeds of poverty that would grow for generations. Then came the crushing Great Depression of the 1930s. As the economy crashed, millions of Americans lost their homes, and Seattle was no different. Families gathered in makeshift towns called Hoovervilles, building shelters from whatever scraps they could find. Life in these desperate settlements was brutal. Poor sanitation, scarce food, and a daily struggle just to survive. Yet even amid hardship, people leaned on each other for support. Fast forward to the 1970s, and Seattle faced another devastating blow: the Boeing bust. When the aerospace giant laid off thousands of workers overnight, longtime residents suddenly found themselves unemployed. With housing already scarce, homelessness surged even higher. This economic disaster was a chilling preview of the challenges Seattle would face later. By the 1990s and early 2000s, Seattle transformed dramatically into a global tech powerhouse. Companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and countless startups flooded the city with money and new high-paying jobs. But this new wealth came with a dark side. Housing prices exploded, forcing long-term residents out of neighborhoods they'd called home for decades. While Seattle's skyline reached new heights, the gap between the wealthy and those barely scraping by widened drastically. Understanding this history is critical. It explains why homelessness remains such a glaring crisis today. Seattle's story is defined by cycles of boom and bust, each leaving deep scars. Today's homelessness disaster didn't happen overnight. It's the painful result of decades of policy failures, economic shocks, and social inequalities. It's a stark reminder that even the most vibrant cities can't escape the consequences of rapid growth and neglect. But today's crisis is even more alarming. Seattle's homelessness epidemic has reached shocking new heights. Right now, thousands across the city are facing nights without stable shelter. It's worse than ever before. Seattle is at a breaking point. Homelessness has exploded across the city. Newcomers keep pouring in while rent shoots sky high, and wild winter storms pound those already living on the edge. Economic gaps widen every day, leaving more people without any safe place to sleep. This tragedy is no longer a distant number on a chart. It is an everyday nightmare for families, veterans, and children. We are pulling back the curtain on the roots of this disaster, the cost of looking away, and the damage felt by the whole community. Before we dig deeper, smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to Global Homeless News. Your click helps us spotlight urgent world problems through powerful travel stories and eye-opening documentaries. Step off the plane and Seattle dazzles you with glittering water and endless evergreens. It feels almost perfect at first, but wander into downtown or certain side streets and a harsher truth leaps out. People huddle in tents under highway ramps while glass towers shine only a block away. That jarring contrast raises a burning question. How did a city famous for booming business become the stage for one of the nation's most visible homelessness crises? To find real answers, we must unearth every hidden layer of Seattle's past. Every city carries stories of pain that tourists rarely see, and Seattle's tale is pure contradiction. Tech titans walk the same sidewalks where struggling neighbors search for shelter. Let us rewind to the mid-1800s when Seattle was still a rough frontier outpost. Early strips called skid roads were gathering spots for people living on society's edge, planting seeds of poverty that never fully vanished. During the crushing Great Depression of the 1930s, huge shanty towns known as Hooverville rose on the city's fringe. Hundreds of desperate families stitched shacks out of scrap wood and tin, fighting hunger, disease, and bone-chilling cold day after day. Yet even there, community spirit glimmered in shared meals and watchful care. Fast forward to the 1970s, Seattle felt the Boeing bust like a gut punch. Thousands of aerospace workers lost their jobs overnight, and with housing already tight, streets filled with newly displaced residents. That shock previewed future trouble. Then came the tech tidal wave of the 1990s and early 2000s. Microsoft, Amazon, and countless startups poured money into the city, sending the skyline soaring. At the same time, rent blasted upward, pushing longtime locals out of neighborhoods they had loved for generations. Prosperity for some meant eviction for many, opening a canyon between the haves and the have-nots. These repeated booms and busts built the storm we see today. Decades of policy choices, market swings, and widening inequality have collided, and the fallout is brutal. Right now, on any given night, thousands across Greater Seattle scramble for shelter while the city keeps climbing the charts of expensive places to live. What happens next could be even more shocking. Emergency shelters offer a temporary lifeline, but they're bursting at the seams. For many, the choice is brutal. Pack into an overcrowded shelter or brave the freezing streets alone. That's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. And yet, even in this bleak landscape, you'll find something powerful. People helping people, Strangers become protectors. Friends share food, blankets, and warmth. In a world that often feels cold and heartless, these human connections shine like fire in the dark. They're the glue holding people together in the middle of chaos. So how is Seattle responding to this growing nightmare? Government officials and local communities are stepping up with real action. But the road is long and full of challenges. From bold emergency plans to groundbreaking housing strategies, Seattle is trying to turn the tide. Let's start with the emergency response. In recent years, city leaders declared homelessness a state of emergency. This urgent move unlocked more funding and fast-tracked life-saving programs. More emergency shelters opened, and outreach teams began working around the clock, offering food, health care, and a place to sleep before cold nights turned deadly. The city also poured serious money into the crisis. Budgets now include massive support for everything from shelter beds to mental health care. New funds help create temporary housing units, improve safety at encampments, and grow outreach teams who guide people to the services they need. But one major idea is leading the charge: housing first. This powerful model is simple but bold. The first step to fixing homelessness: give people a stable, permanent place to live, no strings attached. Once they have housing, it's easier to deal with jobs, health issues, or recovery from addiction. And it's working. Across Seattle, this approach has helped build safe communities where people not only get shelter, but also support. From mental health care to employment help, residents get what they need to start over. And many do. These success stories prove that lasting change is possible when we lead with compassion. But not everyone can jump straight into permanent housing. That's where innovative shelters step in. Seattle has created new ways to help people move off the streets, even if it's just one step at a time. Tiny house villages and regulated encampments are offering a safer alternative to tents in alleys or sidewalks. These small communities provide basics: showers, restrooms, security, and a chance to rebuild with dignity. Several tiny house villages now sit on the city's edge, serving as crucial bridges between homelessness and home. Residents often describe these places as the first time in years they've felt safe. They're not just shelters, they're communities with heart, hope, and purpose. But there's one more layer we can't ignore: mental health and addiction. These issues haunt a huge portion of Seattle's homeless population. Many are living with untreated trauma, mental illness, or substance abuse struggles, without any help in sight. To fight this, Seattle has expanded its mental health outreach like never before. Mobile health vans, crisis teams, and local clinics now offer critical care to people who would otherwise slip through the cracks. And it's not just about emergency help. Long-term therapy, medication support, and peer counseling are all part of the plan. These services aim to break the cycle, so people don't just survive another night, but finally find a way out for good. And behind every number is a real person with a story worth hearing. Like Joe. Joe came to Seattle chasing dreams, but the city's rising costs crushed his hopes. After losing his job and facing sky-high medical bills, Joe hit rock bottom. He ended up in a tent just blocks from the city center, trying to survive day by day. But Joe didn't give up. With the help of a local outreach team, using the Housing First model, Joe finally found a path forward. He now lives in a small permanent apartment, safe, warm, and filled with a sense of hope he thought he'd lost forever. Joe's transformation didn't just change his life, it ignited a movement. Not only did he find stability again, but he became a powerful voice for change. Joe began speaking publicly, urging city leaders to adopt kinder, smarter policies for those without a home. His courage sparks a crucial question: what can we learn from those who've walked this path themselves? Joe's story proves that homelessness isn't a personal failure. It's a systemic issue. It takes more than grit to survive. It takes a system that offers real help, not just blame. Joe's choice to speak out isn't just brave, it's a rallying cry. A reminder that behind every number is a real person with hopes, heartbreaks, and the strength to rise again. And when we step back to reflect, Seattle's crisis hits even harder. It's heartbreaking and eye-opening to realize that a city known for tech and innovation is also struggling to house its most vulnerable residents. How can a place that builds rockets and robots still leave thousands out in the cold? This contradiction forces us to ask tough questions about what kind of society we really want to be. Seattle's homelessness crisis is more than just a local problem. It's a symptom of something much bigger. Rising inequality, weak safety nets, and broken policies. It shows how explosive economic growth can happen right alongside deep human suffering. And that should stop all of us in our tracks. Look closely at Seattle, and you'll see a city split in two. One part shines with progress, the other is buried in neglect. That contrast is a warning, but also a call to action. It's time to rethink how we define success. Ask yourself, what kind of future are we building if millions are left without shelter, dignity, or hope? It's not enough to admire skylines while turning away from those sleeping beneath them. We have to look past the picture-perfect postcards and confront the pain hiding in plain sight. This challenge doesn't just belong to politicians or nonprofits. It belongs to every one of us. As travelers, as neighbors, as humans, we all have a role to play. And it starts with empathy. Once we truly see the people behind a crisis, we're more likely to support real solutions that bring lasting change. So where does that leave us? Seattle's story is full of contradictions, breathtaking nature and booming innovation, standing right beside heartbreaking poverty. But within that clash lies a real chance to fix what's broken. Yes, this city has made big mistakes, but it's also making bold moves, investing in housing, backing mental health care, and creating programs that actually work. There is hope rising in the middle of the storm. In this journey, we've explored the roots of Seattle's crisis, its history, its struggles, and its shining moments of resilience. We've seen the faces behind the facts, people like Joe, who remind us what this fight is really about. As we wrap up this chapter in our travel series, let's not forget, every city has two sides, the postcard and the pain. And to truly understand a place, we must see both. So ask yourself this: what responsibility do we carry as travelers, as global citizens, to help communities in need? How can our love for travel become a force for good? And what small steps can each of us take to help those left behind? Seattle's crisis is massive, but it's also a powerful wake-up call, a chance to rebuild with compassion. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Global Homeless News for more powerful stories and meaningful journeys.